All right, I am back for this week's live stream. Avran is not here today, as most of you guys know. He is gone, going and visiting family. We might get a little special guest appearance from him today, though. Who knows? He's somewhere driving across the U.S. on Highway 90. It sounds like from the last time I spoke with him. But we're gonna answer your questions, or I guess I'm gonna answer your questions. Maybe some of you guys will answer each other's questions as well, because might be a little difficult for me to get to all of them today, especially because I haven't ridden all of the same boards as Avran has in the past. But I'll do my best, and we'll just get right on with it. And first super chat of the day comes from S. Scott 1986. TC on his own, lose a button for the degenerates. You know what, guys? For you guys today, I will pop the top button. I did get a little sunburnt this weekend when I was playing golf up there or in Steamboat, so we got to let that sunburn breathe a little bit, but appreciate the super chat there, Steven Scott. Let's see what else we have. All right. Smashity was set on a Stale Cruiser till I heard the new Mountain Twin got some carbon in it. Would you say the Stale Cruiser is closer to the Mountain Twin or the Mountain Twin Pro? I rode the Mountain Twin this year. It does have more pop to it, a little bit more snappiness, a little bit more, pretty much, I would say, just reactive in general in the nose and tail, making it a little bit more fun. I wasn't able to get on the Pro this year, though, because they just didn't have one in our size or anything. It wasn't ready for us, so we weren't able to ride that one. But based on what I thought of the Stale Cruiser, I mean, it is very close to what I would say would probably be right in the middle of them, because the regular Mountain Twin had just really fun pop to it, not as stiff as the Stale Cruiser is. And I imagine that even though the new Pro also has carbon in it, that reclaimed carbon, and then also has the Koroyd in it, I feel like it's still going to be stiffer than the Stale Cruiser is, where it's going to be right in the middle there and just like a nice mixture of both, but it is still that directional twin. So, I mean, I don't know which one it'll be closer to, but I think it's just going to sit right in the middle there, and you don't really have to worry too much about being super aggressive and like crazy like that, where I think the Mountain Twin Pro has been tamed down since I rode it when they had that veneer top sheet on it and that thing was a plank. But it seems more approachable, especially since when Avram rode it last year, he said it got much better. And then I can only imagine this year they've only improved it. So that's where I'd put it, probably right in the middle there. But we'll keep moving on to Stealther. Saw a dude at my local field, Mount Hutt, this Wednesday riding a golden orca. So I gave him a sick board compliment and asked him how it was. Only noticed that when he was getting on the lift, he also had phase bindings. And just a follow up to that one, was definitely admiring his setup. Wanted to ask him if he liked him and how he got phase early in New Zealand. I haven't heard of anybody in New Zealand getting any phase bindings or pretty much anything like that. I thought they would be already getting phase this year, but it sounds like they're going to be getting it the following season. So normally they're a year ahead of everything on it, but apparently not for phase. They decided to really keep that one close to the heart, send it to us first, which surprised me, but that's dope that somebody else has them and they're able to try them out in the Southern Hemisphere there. So I'm stoked about that. And honestly, kind of a weird setup having a golden orca out there, but hey, hats off to him if he wants to spend that kind of money. That's dope setup. We got a super chat from Sam Duty. It says, solo cheek stream today. I'm bricked up. Me too, Duty. It's going to be a fun day. Hopefully, if you guys have any questions, I don't know if there is a poll this week. Avran set up the whole live stream. All I had to do is hit play. So hopefully he set up a poll. If there is, answer it. If not, we can always come up with one throughout the stream if you guys want. We'll come up with something stupid. We got 2 hours to kill here, and it's only me. So, I'm talking to myself at this point, it feels like, but whatever. I'm stoked to see we have 72 people in here at least, but we'll keep moving on to another one from Sam Diddy. Lose a button, maybe 2. We need this. I gave you 1. We'll maybe get 2 as we further get in, who knows, by the end of it, they could all be unbuttoned depending on how this goes. If I'm struggling, you'll know, and they'll start coming off, but we'll see. We'll keep moving on to the next super chat from Jack Offbeat, our moderator. I appreciate you being here this week because I'm going to probably be struggling on this one on my own, going through all these comments. So appreciate you kind of sifting through these for me. But he says, pop a button for the degenerates, be a man. We're already there. We're there, guys. We're going to keep on moving and keep finding some good ones for you. See if we have any actual questions this week. Hunter, he says, Senior Thunder Chef, please pop a button. Also, what board are you most excited for this season? I mean, I was really excited for that Commonwealth where that review dropped yesterday. Also, a new top 5 dropped yesterday. So go ahead and check those out if you guys haven't seen them yet. But I was super stoked on that board. I didn't really know what to expect from it because, I mean, it's the shape of the passport, the guts of the alchemist. I'm like, do we need this thing? And then once I wrote it, I was totally stoked on it. I was like, this board is absolutely amazing in that same realm of just a side hit board that you don't really have to ride super aggressive. Like I went out, rode it, took a little break, came back, and then just was kind of just cruising around on it and had zero issues holding the edge or anything like that. Where on like say the aeronaut, even when you're on that thing, you got to put power to the edge when you're turning it. Not so much on the Commonwealth where you can just kind of keep it nice and mellow and just kind of cruise around. And then once you see that side hit you really want to go after, you can really load that thing up. So I really enjoyed that board a lot this year. Otherwise, for like new stuff, there's really not a lot of new stuff that I wrote. I mean, I did really like that Demic Wayfinder 3 from LibTech. That board was super fun, especially because it's not something I normally like, but it was really fun where I could just kind of surf that thing out, put my stance really narrow on it, and just use my hips to turn that board, and was able to get in super low angle stuff that nobody else was. So that board was crazy fun to me, where you just ride it with a smile on your face the whole time. You don't have to get super aggressive on it, but it does have enough when you do go into get on like a nose press or a tail press or anything like that. When you're buttering around, it still has enough to hold you, which I thought was super fun, especially because it is a really soft board with that C2 in it where everything's kind of working against you when you're buttering on it. But it felt super fun. I really enjoyed it. Like that was one of the ones where it surprised me. I had fun on the previous model, but this one, it just hit so much harder for me where I was like, this board is the ultimate relax, have fun board to me. So those are the two I'm really pumped for, but you know, I'm sure there are more that I'm forgetting at the moment, and they'll probably come up later in the live stream, I'm sure. And we got another one from Jack Offbeat. Pre-ordered some FASE Mercs. Are they going to be your board testing binding for this season? Hashtag show some chest. We got a little chest showing. But yeah, I think I'm going to keep on the FASE Mercs this year, where if they send me a new pair that possibly could have skate tech, I'm going to be just ecstatic about that. But, you know, if they don't, I'll still keep rocking the ones I have, just because the more days I get on them, the more I can send back any feedback I have to like Jones or Nidek or anybody there. So I'll keep on those bindings. I really did like them. I mean, for my race setup, I'll probably have some skate techs just because I want that extra response heel toe when I am in banks. So I'll probably keep on those for my races, my bank slaloms, that sort of thing. But when I'm daily driving and testing stuff, I'll stay on the FASE just because it is super easy when I get off the lift, especially at Copper, to just pop my foot in, ratchet it down, and just keep moving. And that way I can test boards a lot faster than stopping, bullshit with a bunch of people that are getting off the lift. I can just kind of keep going, stay in my flow, and just keep on riding that way. And they're nice and comfortable, so I'm going to keep up with it. Like, I really enjoyed them. I mean, I rode them for a full year. I went through 2 sets of them. Like, I thought those bindings were great, and I'm going to keep riding them. So, but hey, man, click those links. Thanks for picking those up. I think like you guys have definitely helped push FASE quite a bit, honestly, where like we've seen in our affiliate sales and everything, they're flying off the shelves, which is great. I think that's exactly what snowboarding needs right now too, is just people getting stoked on new products. So thanks, guys. I really appreciate that. And I know the snowboard community does it as well. Let's see what we got here. We got one from Letters. Too many buttons, man. Hashtag Magic TC. We'll get another one going. We'll get another one. Maybe if we get to like $100 today, I could pop another one. I'll have to keep a log in my mind or something of this, but we're getting up there, so I'll pop one sooner than later. Ice Coast. Looking for we'll restart that. Ice Coast super chat. Looking into Mercury phases, size 10.5 fuses. Had new focuses in medium, but felt off center towards the toe edge. Stick with the mediums or go large. Ooh, that one, honestly, I think you have to go large, as unfortunate as it is, because my 10s, I had to slide those back almost the whole way. And I feel like with a 10.5, you might be a little toe heavy. The one thing I can say that if you haven't tried it yet and you do still have the mediums is you can spin that disc around and it actually goes one way more than the other. So if you spin it around and slide it all the way back, that could help the problem. But you're sitting at a weird spot where that 10.5 fuse is so low profile that you don't have to, like, you have too much room in the large when it comes to the width of the binding to the boot. So if you can, try spinning that disc, the 180, and sliding it all the way back, and that way you might be able to fit into it. But with your boots, it is on that cusp of that medium large. So I would say try the medium, because I know those straps are going to be perfect for you, and that heel cup is going to fit perfectly, because mine has a little bit of movement, but it should work for you. So if you can spin it around and get it so the toe is pretty much centered there, you'll be fine on it. If you can't get that spin on it, then you're going to have to go with the large, unfortunately, which it is what it is. Just make those ankle straps nice and small on it, and you'll be fine, where you shouldn't have any issues then. But that's what I would say. That's the one I had to do, or just spin it around. And I still have some room, so you should be able to slide it all the way back, and that should work for you. If not, maybe try the other ones, like try out some of the Rome ones, because I know that 10 or your 10.5 will fit in that Rome, just because you can move that heel cup. So that would be the other thing I would say check out, but you should be able to if you spin it around. All right, Joe Gunn. And if we hit a super chat goal and he comes back to the Discord and is more attractive there, I might come back to the Discord. I still have to get my email figured out with them. I think mine got hacked or something because it won't let me in anymore. But I'll work on the Discord, especially since Avran is on vacation right now. So someone's got to get in there and keep you degenerates all in line talking about snowboarding, because last time I was there, it was not about snowboarding. And I was like, what the hell is going on in here? So maybe I'll come back. I always tease it, but it could happen this year. You never know. But we'll keep moving on to the next one. We have another super chat from Carpe Diem. TC, don't tell Avran I said this, but having you on the Angry Team has really elevated the channel. Thanks to both of you for keeping those of us that have no life outside of winter entertaining in the dog days of summer. I appreciate it. Avran's definitely helped me along the way, for sure, where he's definitely had to do some hand holding, especially if you guys saw the first year of my reviews. They were the hardest thing ever to get through. I knew I was camera shy going into it, so that was the huge problem I had. And then it just got even worse when I had Avran in there, where it was like, nope, you said the wrong thing there. We got to cut that. And it, like, honestly, my first review, which was the Bataleon Cruiser, that took over an hour. I think it was like an hour and a half to film that one review, because I just couldn't do it. I couldn't think in front of the camera. Now it's to the point where, if you guys have watched that last review of the Commonwealth, it's me by myself in there, and I'm so comfortable in there now. I can just hit play and just keep talking, to the point where Ben has had to tell Avran to be like, hey, you got to tell this guy to shut the hell up, because like otherwise I could have like 15-minute long reviews. So, you know, it's gotten better for sure, but just working on it. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we got a good yin and yang going too, where he still has his angry side and everything. I try to lighten up the mood on stuff, but you know, we got a good thing going. I really enjoy it. So I appreciate that. It's definitely helped a lot. And we got another chat from Tiber TY King. TC has a good hair day. Thank you. Appreciate that. I washed it today, so you know, it's pretty good. All right. I am going to absolutely destroy this name. Clovetsevets Maximums. Yep. Yo, any word on the new Union Source FCs? Avram wrote them this year. We will have that review coming out. I don't know when it's going to come out. I know that they did get a price bump because of the tariffs and stuff from the sounds of it, but everybody did across the board. They are definitely going to be expensive. They're made out of fully forged carbon. Even the heel cup on it, where Union normally has that fully aluminum heel cup, that thing's forged carbon. So they are super light. I think they come in at like 15 ounces a piece. So they are definitely the lightest binding on the market. But that being said, they do transfer a lot of chatter from what Avran said or what he told me, where they are very responsive. They are going to get you where you're going, but you're going to feel everything. So if you're on those super icy days or those super chunky days, you're going to feel everything you're riding over unless you have a really damp board. So just keep that in mind if you are looking at a pair of them, and make sure you click those links because that would definitely help. But the binding itself, you only have 2 screws, so make sure those things are going to be always tight. Like before you go and ride, just make sure, because when stuff gets cold and warm, you get expansion, contraction. Those binding screws might just kind of work their way out, just like other bindings do, or other systems do, where you have that channel system on some of those. They kind of loosen up over time. So just keep that in mind. But they are coming out. I mean, they're going to be really expensive, and they're definitely for that hardcore rider that needs the most like response out of their binding, but also not a super heavy binding. They need something they're probably going to be hiking up with on their back. So it's definitely not going to be for that intermediate rider by any means. And it's definitely for somebody who's got that extra budget to blow on a set of very expensive bindings. So from what I hear, they're a great binding. They're just very like expensive, and they're not the dampest thing out there. So if you're looking for a damp binding to help knees or hips or anything, don't look at that one. I would definitely check out like a Falcor or like a Force from Union, because that's just going to help so much better. Moving on to the next one, though. So we got Scooter Magoot. What's up, TC? Are Astro full wraps enough for the K2 Alchemist? Yes. Yeah, you're going to be totally stoked on that setup, especially with having that full wrap. It should be enough for that board. When I rode those bindings, I thought they were great. Like, it's pretty much an equivalent to a Ride C8, which I rode on the Alchemist this one behind me for a year, and I had 0 problems with that. So I would definitely say go for it, especially if you already own them. Definitely just throw them on there. You're going to be happy with that, and you're going to be stoked on it. So yeah, they're going to work for you. Got another chat from XT. Is the Ride Kink really that much better than the Nitro T1? I haven't ridden the T1, but I mean, if you look at our top 5, the Kink was up there. So I would definitely say it has its place for sure, but I don't know if it's 100% better. It just, we weren't able to really ride one this year to really get on it and say for sure that we do like it, or if it was top 5 worthy or not. So, you know, it's one of those things that if we didn't ride it in the current season, sometimes it gets left off the list. Like we had the Ride Zero last year, I think 2 years ago as well. Didn't ride it this year, and I don't think it did as well on the list. But, you know, overall, still a great board, and so is the T1. It just, you know, wasn't able to crack the top 5 this year, as we like to say. So, you know, still a great board, just wasn't there for us. So we just almost forgot about it, I could say. But I wouldn't say forgot. It's one of those things. All right, we got a super chat from Beziums. Remove one of the fasteners on the blouse, you harlot. Hashtag do it for the steak and heli. Right, for you Beziums, we'll go one more, but now it's starting to feel like a little strip show for you guys. But appreciate the super chat, Bees. Appreciate the heli trip and all that for you and wife Trademark. You guys were awesome. That was a really fun trip. hopefully we'll get a little edit or a little clip of pretty much what we got to ride. I have all of those videos and all that stuff from it. So maybe I'll give it to the editor and hopefully he can put something together for it. And maybe you'll be able to see us riding or even just standing on boards, because I don't know if I have any videos of Avran riding actually. For some reason the camera doesn't work when he gets on a board. I don't know what it is, but we'll see if we can make something like that happen. All right, we got a chat from Jeff Wyant. Hey TC, boot question. I've been riding the 32 lash for 3 or 4 pairs and looking to upgrade to something stiffer, lace boa. Thinking K2 elevation, ride fuse, Nidecker Kita hybrid. Thanks, man. I'm not 100% familiar with the K2 evasion, so not really 100% well versed on that one from K2. But the ride fuse and the Nidecker Kita hybrid are both great choices if they fit your foot. The fuse is what I've been on for going on 9 seasons now, which I absolutely love that boot. Went through 2 pairs of them last year, getting over 100 days on them. So yeah, they're great boots. If it fits your foot, I think you're absolutely going to love it, especially because of that wrap liner. If you have a little bit skinnier of a calf and just lower foot area, that thing wraps really well. Fits extremely well for me, where I can just tighten up that side boa, get it nice and snug, tie it up. I have 0 issues with it. I might have to tie my boot once extra, like halfway through the day if they're getting pretty sogged up, but that's about it. Otherwise, I really never have to mess with them. And when I put on the Nidecker Kita regular or the Kita boa version, which I assume is going to fit very similar to the hybrid, just because they have the same kind of like side boa action, but that boot fit really well, where they were very similar fit to the fuse. So I enjoyed it. I thought the stiffness was right on par with that fuse. So if that's the stiffness you're looking for, definitely go for it. I would also recommend trying out an Orton from K2. That's going to be slightly stiffer than them, and it's only going to be a double boa option, but it might work for you because it does have that new coiler where you bust it off on the front, you can pop it back into place with 0 issues, so you don't have to worry about it really like breaking on you or straining you out at the top of the mountain, anything like that. So I would definitely recommend trying those out. I'm going to ride a pair this year just to try them out and see how I like them. I might switch to them just because they are a little bit stiffer, and that way I can get a full season out of them. But I really enjoyed them, like just putting them on my foot. I need to put a little boot work into them, but for the most part, I think they're going to fit me pretty well. But I would say, just as Avran does, best boot is the one that fits your foot and fits your needs. So definitely go try them on. And once you've tried them on, you can always come back with more questions, and that way we can help you dial it in, especially if you don't have a great boot fitter where you're at. So just keep that in mind. I would definitely say try them all on and make sure that everything fits perfectly for you. And we do have that boot fitting series that Avran is in the process of re-upping and just pretty much revitalizing. So keep a lookout for that. I'm sure he'll get to that very shortly, or somewhat shortly, but hopefully we'll have it out by this year for you guys. All right. And we'll keep on moving. From letters, pop a button, please. Not like we're asking you to hang down. Yeah, that's true. I don't think YouTube would allow that one. That might have to go to the feet finder or whatever. We'll call that one Thunder Feet for you guys. But yeah, appreciate the super chat. We'll maybe work our way down for more buttons. I know we don't have a wheel this week, but things are going pretty well. So who knows? I should have just taken the wheel from his house. We could have had a secret wheel week. That would have been great. Maybe next week. Don't say anything. All right, do better, pimp. I just ordered the Rum Katanas using your link from Blower's website. Got them for $380 after tax with their 15% off discount code for the first-time buyers. Save $62. That's awesome. You guys go check out Blower. We have plenty of links for them, especially if you haven't bought anything from them before. They're going to give you 15% off. And, I mean, this year it's definitely going to be for sure necessary, especially because everything's going up in price. But with that 15% discount, that's actually cutting off more than it's going up. So you're still saving money. You're saving that tax money as well. So that's a great deal. appreciate you clicking the links and all of that. I would highly recommend it, guys. Checking out Blower. They have everything. It's insane how much stuff they have on their website. When I'm going through making links, I'm literally just going through, and it's always Blower on there. And they have great customer service as well. We love working with them. They're awesome. If you're in California, just stop on into the shop, slap my high five. But do better, pimp. We appreciate it. All right. From Nar. We got a grumpy mod again today, boys. Last stream, I got a timeout for making orca joke. LOL, FFs. I don't know if he's grumpy today. He seemed pretty good to me when he's been messaging earlier, but, you know, just don't bring in stupid orca shit, and we don't have to ban you or anything like that. You know, orca's a good board, but there's a time and a place for everything. So, same with the orca. It's just like that. Moving on to the next super chat, though. Rough. You got the Commonwealth juices flowing. Rough, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad board for you. I know you probably don't need another snowboard, but it's a pretty sweet board, especially when you get that base on snow. That thing pops. So, you know, do that with what you will, but appreciate the super chat, and that board is awesome. I think that's going to be the daily driver this year. So, moving on to the next one, though. Andrew Pearson. Have you guys gotten the new Union boots yet? We haven't gotten our hands on them. Haven't been able to put them on our feet. We've seen them in person on other people's feet from the our local rep, where he was wearing them around all the demos, really enjoying them, where he said it fit great. So, I mean, it fit his foot really well, but until we're able to see, we have no idea. I know it's definitely, I think I heard it's going to be around $700, something like that retail. So it's definitely on the higher end of things, but they did put a lot of tech into it, and they had to build a whole new factory because nobody else could build this boot for them. So it'll be interesting to see how it breaks down and everything to really get a grasp on this new tech and if it actually works or not. But I'm excited to see. I know Christie Sports bought the most pairs out of anybody in the nation. So if you need a pair and you can't find them anywhere, you can check out a Christie Sports, go up to Powder Tools and Steamboat. They're going to have a bunch of them. So feel free to go over there, try those guys on when they do get in stores. But at this point, we just weren't able to because they were so crunched for time on production where they just weren't able to get samples out to everybody. They were able to get them out to their reps, that sort of thing, but they just weren't able to get them to us. So I think Avran said by October, November, we should have them, should have a video about a month after that. So hopefully we'll get that video out before the real season hits, where you guys can still think about actually picking those ones up instead of having to go to a different option if you're super interested in them. Oh, wrong. All right. Braden Reichert. Seems a little less angry this week and a little too many buttons done up. Well, you know, I mean, if it was a regular week, this thing would be all the way up still. So, you know, but we'll keep moving on. Carpe Diem says no poll that I can see. All right, we'll have to come up with one then. I'll think of one on the spot here while we're going for it. And I'll just take notes as I go. So a little double duty this week, but I got my notepad, so we're all good there. So the poll this week is what we'll say is where in the world is Avran? And the poll, you guys just type in where you guys think Avran is, and we'll answer it, and we'll see if that's where he was when I talk to him next. And I'll fill you guys in next week then. Gives you a little bit of incentive to come on back next week. And I might have a special guest next week, actually, too. So we'll see about that. It could be a founder of a company. We'll see. But we'll keep on moving to R Raynor 00. Heavy rider, but not aggressive. Thinking about the phase or the Mercury phase over the Katanas. Does weight affect binding as much as boards? Would my algorithm and excavator would be on my algorithm and excavator depending on conditions? I think it does depend. I mean, depending on how aggressive you are and how much you weigh, just because having that fully fixed heel cup with composite or plastic instead of that aluminum might not hold up to your weight quite as well. I mean, that binding would fit on the algorithm or the excavator, no problem. I would ride it on either of those boards and enjoy my life thoroughly. But when it comes to having that extra weight, like 220, 230 on up for pounds wise, I would definitely say, oh, we are getting Avran's calling in. We'll see if we can get him. Avran, you there? No, one sec. Let me take you off my headphone. Give me 1 second. There we go.
Here's the trip report. Fucking windy. Fuck, you got the steering wheel at a 45-degree angle to stay straight, bud. Minnesota's windy as fuck.
You're in Minnesota, okay. Welcome to my land.
I'm in South Dakota. I'm in Minnesota. I've not seen one lake yet. Bullshit.
You got to get to the east side.
I'm driving towards the Jolly Green Giant. I'm going to find out if he's got Brussels sprouts and broccoli for a cock and ball.
I have not been there, so I do need that report as well.
Okay. But so far, my dog has seen Carhenge, a wire-wrapped moose, an 80-foot dinosaur. What else did she see? We went and got some barbecue in Sioux Falls because Dickie Steven told me to go there. It was good. It was delicious. So, you know, also, Walsall, Dakota sucks ass.
You didn't like the wall drug?
I didn't even go because it's a tourist trap. I was going near that. I went to the dinosaur instead.
All right.
I stayed in the hotel, and I swear to God that the thing was pouring out candy out of the faucet, out of the shower head. I felt stickier after I showered.
Oh, did the bed rumble? Did you put a couple quarters in it?
No, I didn't do that.
Oh.
I'm lucky enough for that. But, you know, it is what it is. Also, Google Maps decided to send me down a dirt road across the Bataleon. I don't think it was actually open. I think it was closed.
Did you run into anything out there?
No, I drove like 20-something miles and there wasn't shit. And then I pulled back out on the highway and I was like, this doesn't even look like it was a fucking road.
You went on a service road or something for the...
I don't know what it was. It told me that I had to go down it, and then it gave me a big warning that it was unpaved at one section. And 20 miles later, it was paved again. Bullshit.
So you're on the west side of Minnesota where it's just crazy flat. Have you seen any trees?
Yeah, no, thank you. But none of the windmills are turning. That one to me. Looking at a window right now, it's just standing there, but the trees are bent sideways. It's bullshit. Minnesota's a fucking lie.
It is. We'll just wait. You'll run into all the lakes.
Yeah, I've heard this before.
Yep, they're there. You just got to keep your eyes peeled. If you don't make a turn, you might run into one. I've had a few uncles do that.
How drunk were they?
One of them was definitely really tanked. So you might be okay.
I was able to drive across the reservation, and there was red dogs everywhere, and they all looked like Baroness.
Oh, really?
It was like everyone just breed Malinois and set them loose on the red?
Yeah, they got a higher prey drive. They last longer by themselves.
They were all like German Shepherd, Malinois, Husky mixes.
just
Husky mixes because their eyes were blue.
Yeah, just crazy mixed breeds of just mutant dogs at that point. Just straight killers.
Yeah. Fuck, they would run out. Also, what is South Dakota's obsession with Taco John? Every town, Taco John.
Not a Subway? A Taco John?
Taco John's everywhere. Non-stop. Still debating if I should drive to Taco Bell Kevin.
I mean, It's in Minneapolis.
It's only a couple blocks from Zombie.
Then yeah, you gotta go.
But I don't know if I'm going north.
I didn't know that it was that close to Zombie.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know. But yeah. Taco Del Kevin. I mean, that's very, very Mexican.
Anything else? Any other? You got all tires? You got all windows still?
So I got all my tires, hopefully, theoretically.
Okay.
So 2 of them were slightly flat yesterday when I had to go put air in them. So I don't know if someone tried to deflate them or if because the car sat for so long they deflated.
I bet it was the elevation change as well.
No, because it did it from Breck to Frisco.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that. Drove over Cameron Pass. Highly recommend that.
Okay.
That was awesome. Yeah. You can definitely see where the fire was. Yeah. So there was that. Some woman's little rat dog tried to bite Baroness, and that didn't go the way she thought it would. I was like, lady, whole fucking vacant ass parking lot. I park on the far side, and you walk over to me? It's your fault. Your little rat terrier thought it was an alpha dog, so it met mine.
Didn't go up.
Also, yeah. Also, the Baroness poop report. She pooped once. That's a new record for the strip cross country for her.
All right. All right. How many times do you expect her to poop while she's there? Is that normal?
Oh, she'll poop at least 7 times a day.
Okay. Okay.
You know, lower elevation, but you know, shit just works through. She can run faster. Got more energy. She doesn't know what's going on.
Yep.
Also, I went in a Dairy Queen for the first time in like 10 years. It was awful.
Really? I expect that.
Sandwich, and it literally looked like 2 chicken nuggets were put on a piece of bread.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah.
Are you gonna take Wisconsin 35?
Once I get to Jolly Green Giant, I'm getting off and figuring out if I'm going up to Michigan to go across Mackinac Bridge, or if I'm going to cut across through Ohio to New York. Somebody keeps telling me don't go to Michigan for some reason. So,
Do you know any people in Michigan? You got any legitimate or illegitimate kids?
no illegitimate children that I know of.
Well, that's how they get you.
Not Michigan, at least. If they were, they'd either be in Poland or Denmark.
Okay. Well, you're not driving that way, so I think you're okay there.
Well, I am driving east, but,
well.
you know. You never know. I mean, then again, theoretically, if I did have an illegitimate child, they'd be closer in age to you than me.
That's true.
So, but, yeah. Anyway, that's the Avran trip report this week.
Because I started a poll just in here saying where in the world is Avran at this point. So we had a few answers.
Good. That's good. How many buttons have you popped?
2.
Only 2? Very disappointed in these people.
Where?
Their super chat game.
Oh,
I want to see a couple $100 super chat. That dude will take his shirt off.
I told him if we made it to 100, I'd pop another one, and I've popped 2 already. It's been every other question.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, the way this is going, though, I might be pantsless by the end of this live stream. Who knows?
I mean, if this is how we go out, I'm okay with it. This is fine. This will be my last hurrah with me on a phone call into the live stream, and then we just retire.
Yep.
We let the scheduled reviews go, and poof, that's it. So, yeah. Also, I want to talk about something. Someone hit me up on the personal shopper today, wanting me to update suggestions I made to them like 6 months ago. I was like, no, I'm not updating it because the new fall stuff dropped. That's not how this works. You paid for it at the time. You got it. You don't get to come back and go, well, I need you to update it now. It's been 6 months. Like, you've been serviced. You're good. Like, what is that bullshit?
It hasn't changed much.
Oh. What do you do? So I recommended a bunch of Rome bindings, but the names changed. Okay, if you were looking at DOD, looking at $390. There you go. Also, what is up with Perkins restaurants being everywhere in the Midwest?
Perkins? Yeah, that's what we got. We're Perkins people there. We don't get Waffle House. We're Perkins or Denny's, but mainly Perkins.
Just a lot of Perkins.
Yep. Well, we got to have some place for the...
And supper club. A lot of supper club.
Yeah. Yeah, especially in those small towns you're driving through. Everybody loves the supper club. Yeah. I think so. You just got to make sure you don't go on prime rib day. Because I don't think you can have prime rib, can you? Oh, okay. I feel like every Tuesday or Wednesday is like prime rib day at a supper club. That's fair. I think it's an overrated meat.
It is a horrible cut of meat. It's fatty as hell. Yeah, so it's okay.
Yep.
Have you been answering the questions for the top 5 and shit?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Do you want to answer a question now?
I'll take a question.
Okay. We got a super chat from The Danger. My mate is 250 pounds with size 11 boots, needs a swallowtail for deep Japan days to pair with his daily optimistic. Also needs binding to suit both boards. Recommendations?
Nitrous stiletto all the way.
Yep, that's what I was thinking too.
That flap, you stick with nitro, you probably want, he's a bigger boy, you can probably get away with some phantoms on that.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I would say throw some Katana full wraps on it or some Union Atlas Pros, and you'll be good to go.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. Otherwise, I was also thinking the Arbor A-frame as well.
That board's fun, too. Don't sleep on that one if you get a chance.
Yep.
So, yeah, A-frame or stiletto, those would be my 2 go-to for sure. Wild card, I'll throw out the Amplid Snowmoller, too. So those are your top 3 right there.
All right. Amplid Snowmoller, that's the third.
So.
Sweet.
All right. I'm going to let you get back to it.
All right.
To the Gentleman Green Giant. I'm going to take a photo of his wiener.
Yep. Send it on over to the Discord so everybody knows.
Let's put that on my phone. I'll put that shit on my phone. Fuck no. I got enough updates coming through.
It's too much accessibility.
Oh my god. Driving, and it's like everyone and their brother that works for a company texting me yesterday. I was like, I just be left the fuck alone. I'm on vacation. Like, I don't want to fucking answer your questions. No, I don't give a fuck. Leave me alone. Drive it.
Yeah, just send them on over my way, or just left it. Leave them on red. And...
That's why I sent you the links to the LBS.
Perfect.
I was like, well, you want to sign up for that more than me? I'm driving cross country. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'll look at that later tonight.
Yep, I got signed up for that. Hopefully I get selected this year. If not, that's fine, because I think we got way too much shit ahead of us, so that's all right if I don't make it.
You say that. You have way too much shit. I'm coming back. We hit the point. You're trained well enough. I'm like, good. I can do other things.
Yep.
After all, I bought that digital Super 8 camera. I'm going to make weird edits now. I'm going to become David Lynch.
Ah, there you go. The David Lynch of snowboarding.
David Lynch of snowboarding. So there'll be 10 shots of snowboarding, cumulatively 5 seconds of it, and completely out of order.
It just makes me...
But the soundtrack will be banger.
It makes me think of, if you've seen Not Another Teen Movie, the guy walking around with the video camera the whole time and that plastic bag floating next to him. That's what it reminds me of.
You know what it's from? That's from American Beauty.
Yes.
So, yeah, but still, yeah, I can do that. Just don't go Kevin Spacey on that thing.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to let you go. We're going to get back to it.
Good luck.
Thanks. Bye. All right, guys. So we got Avran answering guest questions, all that jazz. It sounds like he's in Minnesota. So he probably will be stopping at Zombie Board Shop here soon. Well, I don't know about soon, but today, at least, if they're still open by the time he gets there. But yeah, sounds like it's going well. Better than last time. Last time he drove home, he ended up with a shattered passenger window, so he had to deal with that through the rain. But it sounds like it's going better for him this time, and it's not raining, so you know, he's alive. Moving on to the next question, though. Johnny Ryan. I bought a Friday Snowboard 163 gimmick, 6 out of 10 stiffness, so slightly stiffer than the middle of the road. Need a pair of bindings to match the powder board. 5 feet 9 inches, 160 pounds, size 9 boots. I mean, you can go a few ways with it. If you want to get super surfy with it, go with like a pair of Union Ultras. If you want to keep it a little bit more just underneath your foot, go with a pair of Union Forces. But to keep it on the looser end, you got the Union Ultra. You got a Solomon District Team Pro or Hologram, depending on what you want, whichever one you can find a little cheaper. They're very similar. And then the third one, I would say, would be go with something like a, let me think here really quick. Go with something like a Bataleon Blaster, where it's still going to be on that softer end, but you could still drive with it. Otherwise, if you need something a little bit stiffer, just like a Union Force, the Jones Mercury would work for you. And let's just say like a, what did I really like this year? And a Nitro Team Pro binding, just a little bit extra of an upgrade there. But we'll move on to some other questions. All right, we have one from Abram Morton. Somehow ended up in the possession of both Nitro Alternator and Pick Your Line Unyank over the summer, and I don't know which one to get rid of. Reason to keep or get rid of each. Cheers. So the way I mean, honestly, I'd probably keep them both. But the way I'd look at it is your alternator is going to be more of your versatile board where you could take it in the park. You can just hit side hits with it, use it as that daily driver because it's not super directional. Where that Pick Your Line on ink is going to be more for that deeper snow, that steeper, more technical terrain, even that icy or scrubbed off snow, because you do have that tapered underbite or mid-bite, one of those. You have some sort of traction tech on it. So that's where I would keep the Pick Your Line, is just that shitty, icy, scraped conditions or those super deep pow days. The alternator, I would say, ride it everywhere else. And that way, it's pretty versatile board. One of my favorites from Nitro by far. So that's where I would use those two boards. But honestly, I would keep them both if it were me, because then I would just swap bindings and just go boom to each one. So that's what I would do. I love them both. I would keep them, but I'm kind of a hoarder in that sense, where if I have a really good day on a board and I have the opportunity to keep it, or if it is mine, I'm going to keep it, not sell it after the fact. Like, I have 10 boards. 2 of them are the same exact board because I liked them so much. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I'm weird like that, though. Avran's trying to get rid of everything, and I'm like, no, that one has sentimental value to me. So, you know, that's how I feel. All right. We'll go to JP. Sup TC, East Coast small hill rider looking for a pow board for Whistler trips, but still something that I can use back home sometimes. Dancehall, good choice. Any others I should look at? Thanks. Dancehall would be a good choice, but I would definitely stick with something in that realm where, like, either go with a service dog for this year, where that board is definitely not as much party board as more like volume shifted power board. So you could definitely go with that, or even check out like a K2 excavator. That would work for you. If you didn't want to go as directional as an excavator, go with an almanac. And that way you can set it up twin, still ride it on the East Coast. And then when you do get up to Whistler, set it back for that free ride stance. And then you'll have that more POW oriented stance. Or if you want a mixture of both those boards pretty much and just that high-end finish on it, go with the new Sky Pilot. That's going to be a great board for you, where you still have a little bit of 3D in the nose and in the tail, so it's going to help you float. But then it's still that volume shifted where you could still have fun on it, still that party board idea, not a super hard charger. So I would definitely recommend looking at one of those as well. And then I would also say look at like a mind expander if you're thinking about going that direction, because You do have traction tech on that board where it's still going to grip on those icier conditions. You can still party board on that thing, but then it's going to really excel in all that soft snow. So those are the three I would say take a look at. Or if you needed something that's just more directional and just like it's going to float really well, look at a deep fake or a moderator, a flagship, an alternator, a pick your line on ink. Pretty much any of those boards are going to do you just fine, or even a howler, because those are hot in the streets right now for this year. So those are the ones I would say. I know I gave you a lot, but just because it's me and we don't have Avran here, I'm going to just keep recommending stuff for you. So I would say check out the videos for those. Also, it reminds me, I have been updating links on old videos. So like on top fives and stuff that has dropped last year. So if you're looking for links to pick up new product, you can check out those old videos. And I have a new comment pinned there down in the comments. So you can always get the new hot shit when you check out those old videos. So we did update those to help you guys out. And we'll move on to the next question. We got one from Steve. 6 feet, 260 pounds, I'm assuming, on the 160 howler. Would a 63 change make a difference? Yeah, 63 will definitely ride a little bit different than the 160 wide will. And depending on your boot size, I don't know if you want to really do that, but depending on, because that wide, it is going to be more stable, where the 63 is going to be a little bit more narrow, probably a little bit twitchier there, but when it comes to just the overall ride of the board, it's going to ride just a little bit better underfoot, where you're going to feel a little bit more confident on that 63, just because the 60, especially being at 260 pounds, is probably going to feel pretty soft to you, or pretty middle of the road, I could say, possibly. I don't know. I'm not that big. But when you bump up to the 63, you're just going to feel a little bit more confident underneath your feet. So it could make a difference for you. It just depends on what kind of ride you're looking for. If you like how nimble it is now, where you can turn it and really not have to focus on where you're putting your weight and all that stuff, keep on the 60 wide. But if you want something that can just charge a little bit harder and you have a little bit better of a float, go with the 63, I would say. All right. All right, we got a chat from Chief Shane. PSA, just got back from boarding in Chile. Best summer vacation ever. Make the trip. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like they got pretty decent snow. I saw they were going through a little bit of a drought at one point, and then the next thing I saw, they were absolutely just getting hammered. So definitely make it down if you guys can. Like, that would be sick to go board in the summer. Never been able to snowboard on my birthday, so I would love to do that. But yeah, that's dope that you got out there. Love to get a little bit different condition scenery. We'll move on to the next super chat. Bezium says, say something positive about Burton or pop another button. Burton was founded by a great owner, and then it went to shit. But I can also pop another button for you. We'll do that. We'll do both for you guys. There you go, Bees. Appreciate the super chat. All right. And we got a chat from Michael Jaska. TC, explain the term surfy. Is it a style? Is it a hindrance? As like loose and tight for equipment? I get so confused when I hear the term surfy. Can it be good and bad to surfy? So surfy is pretty much how much you're able to move when you're on your board. So with some boards, you feel extremely locked in on it, where it doesn't matter the bindings you have. When you're on that board, you have to ride that board just pretty aggressive. And when a board feels surfy, like say the Mick Wayfinder 3 or even the Mick Wayfinder 2, you can really shift your weight on it and you feel that board turning differently. So when you're riding a board with all your weight right in the center of it, you feel like you can just turn really hard on it. But when it's surfy, you can shift your weight to the back or to the front of the board and really be able to change how the board turns. So when we talk about surfy, it kind of has more of a loose feeling to it where you can really shift your hips and manipulate the board in ways where you can turn it and not have to be super rigid or super aggressive on. So it just means like keeping it looser, and you can have a surfy binding by it allowing a lot of movement back and forth, or a surfy board by pretty much what I said. When you flex into it in different areas, it turns differently. So it just creates more of a surfy feeling, like, say, when you're surfing, you're moving your feet back and forth quite a bit. You're never locked into the board. So you can like whip it around and that sort of thing. And that's kind of what we're trying to get or explain when we say the term surfy. So hopefully that clears it up for you. But yeah, it's just about the movement you can do on the board pretty much. Then we got a chat from Allie M. 2-week-old baby. 2 weeks, damn. 2-week-old baby already has 35 days of riding under her belt. What pro model comes in 85 centimeter? I mean, there are some great boards coming in at like 85 centimeters. Ride makes one called the Low Rider, which has an extruded base on it, has a little leash holder on the front, so you can just tie a rope to it and pull them on it. And that'll come in like an 80, I think, all the way up to a 140 or something like that. But you can put real bindings on it. They beefed it up underneath, thinned it out in between the feet. So when they do get to that point when they can move their feet and figure out how to turn the board, that's going to be a huge step for them. K2 makes one just as well. Same with Bataleon. They make some great kids boards, but that's pretty much what I would do. And I would try to find something used if you can. If you can't, I mean, you could always try to go to one of your local shops and see if they have some old kids demo board or rental board that they're trying to get rid of, or that they don't mind getting rid of, because I've seen people do that in the past, and that's what I would recommend. But just trying to find something that has that little leash holder that you can just pull them with, even if they're on flat, it's just going to be the best for them. But 35 days is crazy, because that's longer than they are old, so that's amazing. All right. So we got a chat from Barnes. I need some new gloves for the season. Had some Gore-Tex ones, but my hands are always sweating, even when I was in the negatives. I see people wearing those Kinkos. Any suggestions? So first off, my hands sweat all the time, no matter what gloves I'm wearing. I always have to take them off when I'm on the lift. Otherwise, they're just going to sweat. But I really like leather gloves. I haven't had a problem with those with my hands getting cold or anything like that. I never really rock Gore-Tex because I think leather just grips the board better. So when I'm doing grabs or anything like that, it just feels better in my hands to me, where I can actually grip it and not have to rely as much on my own grip. So I really like those. Kinkos, nice cheap option. Otherwise, I was a huge fan of the man hands from Crab Grab, or the Howell Joe Sexton mitt, where leather mitt, slight padding on the outside to give you a little extra warmth, but it breaks in pretty quick, where I really like those gloves a lot. I have 2 pairs of them now. I bought a pair and then was gifted a pair. So I'm a huge fan of those. And I rock mittens too. So I don't know if you're a mitten person, but that's what I really like. But I would highly recommend anything leather. I think it just works the best. And then just hit it with the Nick Wax and you'll stay dry all season. You might have to still take them off on the lift, but I mean, I have that problem as well, where I can be riding pipe gloves in the spring or even in the dead of winter and my hands are still sweating. It is what it is. I like to like pretty much layer up enough where my core temperature is warm, and then like everything else can get a little bit more cold, but really, I don't know. That's what it is. My hands just sweat when I snowboard. So I'd say try something a little bit less techy, a little bit more standard, and that might help you, because that Gore-Tex, it doesn't breathe as well either. So that Gore-Tex probably just locking in all that heat and not allowing it to escape. So that's probably part of your problem as well. All right. Chat from YG. What did you enjoy more, the Commonwealth or the Howler? For my personal riding style, I really enjoyed the Commonwealth. Also, it was in the perfect size for me, where when I rode the Howler, it was a 160 or a 161, one of those. It was big for me, but it was a fine board. I could charge on it. And I mean, if I was riding big, steep technical terrain, that's what I would want. But for a daily driver, I like the Commonwealth better just because it's got all the pop I need. I absolutely love the pop on that board. Where on the Alchemist, I do have to work a little bit harder to pop that thing, and on the Commonwealth, it didn't feel nearly that hard to pop. Where I could just see a little bump or a little roller and just instantly pop it without having to really put in all the effort that's needed on some boards. So that's why I like the Commonwealth so much. But it all depends on riding style and what conditions you're going to be riding. If it is more of that upper mountain, steep technical terrain, definitely going Howler. But if it's just like I'm side hitting, going to the park sometimes, just cruising around the whole mountain, that's probably when I'm taking out the Commonwealth, like 9 times out of 10. Carpe Diem, Papa Button Fund. Well, we're already on 3 now, so we're good. All right. MCM, Chinese-made snowboards. Do you have any concerns about the quality of, say, ride boards versus Capita? Any reason to not support companies that make boards in China? Honestly, right now, no. Like, there's no reason to not support them. Like, that's where they've had their that's where they've had their factories pretty much forever since they started. And like ride boards have some of the best quality to them, where their quality testing, they have a guy right there on site to make sure that everything is perfect. So they're top notch. I think I haven't had any problems. I've seen a few defects, but really nothing too crazy come through like with those Chinese boards, especially from Ride or K2, where they have such a grip in there and they know exactly what's going on. I mean, Capita also makes great boards, and they do have that quality assurance of it being in their own factory. But honestly, when it comes down to it, like they're so on top of it now that it's not like 10, 20 years ago when you pretty much would send your specs to those companies. They'd make them. You have no idea anymore if like your board's good or not. Like, let's not forget that Capita had a problem with their boards when they came out with the Stairmaster. That thing was just totally just peeling apart at the seams. Like it almost put them out of business. So they figured it out. Like Rides figured it out. K2's figured it out, where they do have that quality control. I mean, I don't think there's any reason to not buy those boards. I mean, they make some of the best boards out there. Avran's ridden the Shadow Band for years. I have more K2 boards than any other boards in my Quiver. So I think they're great. I haven't had any problems with any sort of like quality with them. And I haven't really seen any ride boards come back like with warranties as much as other brands, I would say. So I think they're pretty built like solid. Like I got no problems with them. I think you should still support that company. Like there's no issues there. A lot of places do make stuff in China. So I think it'd surprise you as to how many actually do. But yeah. God damn it. Dan M, do you know any DIY methods to putting structure into base? I've thought about experimenting on a beater board, but I don't know if the results would be worth the effort. No, there are no DIY ways to do it. So the way the machine works is it has a giant stone on it that spins in a circle, and then they have a tiny diamond stone. And what the diamond stone does for the structure is when it comes through and you set the stone, is what we call it, is when you're putting a structure into the actual stone to put it on your board. What they do is it comes down and this thing's spinning and it just comes down and it'll very lightly touch it to put a little texture in it. When you run your hand across the stone, you don't know what like structure it is, but it's in there. And then once your board goes through, that's how it's on. Now, if you're trying to do it DIY, I have zero idea of how you would actually get that structure into your board because it's so specific. Where when that board goes through, if it doesn't go through perfectly straight and it's like a little cockeyed in there, your structure is totally going to be cockeyed on the bottom. So when it comes to DIYing it, that's a no-go. I would say it's almost going to be impossible for you because you, one, don't have that stone to put it in where it takes off the perfect amount of material. And two, if you were to try to make your own structure and send it through, you're not going to be able to like have the proper tools, I would say, where it's so like such a minuscule amount that when you look at the bottom of a board, send it through, it's taking off like fractions of millimeters on the bottom there. So for you to do it yourself, impossible. Just suck it up, pay the $120, take it to the shop, and they're going to put it on perfectly for you. Where that's just what it is. Like, don't do it yourself. I know you've asked a couple times before, but just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't think about it. If you do it, send me a picture because I would like to see how it turns out and how bad it got fucked up, because it's not doable. You have to have the proper machinery for it. You could do your edges DIY. You can't do the structure. All right, we got another one from Stealther. Hell yeah, TC. If you had the choice between Falcor or FASE Mercury, what would you choose? Price seems about the same. These will be my main bindings. Replace my Genesis. Well, it's good that you're replacing your Genesis. The main thing to me on those two bindings are you looking for an ease of entry, or are you looking for a binding that is going to be extremely comfortable? Like, the Falcor is a crazy comfort binding with amazing performance, where the FASE Mercury is a great performance binding with ease of entry. So ask yourself that. Also ask yourself, do you want more lateral play or more of a locked-in feel? Because with the Falcors, you're going to have more lateral play there, especially with that softer 3D ankle strap on it, than you will on the Mercs, or the FASE Mercury, I should say, where it's great. Both of them, great bindings, but it just depends on the feeling you want. Like, if it were me, it would depend on the board and the setup that I'm using it for, where I would probably put those Falcors on, say, like something I'm going to be charging a little bit on, but I also want it to be a little bit more playful, where I'll probably put it on, like, say, my like Team Manifest or my Air Aviator behind me, if I'm gonna ride that Alchemist, or even like my Stratos, I'm probably going with the Mercs, just because it's a little bit more of a locked-in feeling all around than the Falcor is, where the Falcor is going to allow quite a bit of lateral play, but heel to toe, it's nice and responsive. So just ask yourself which one and what conditions and style of riding you want to do, and that's where I'd go with that one. All right. I'm going to butcher this shit. Gabinder Human. That's, sorry if I really butchered that one, but that's all I got for you. Would you consider the Shadowban more mellow, forgiving than the Stale Cruiser? I have been riding hardcore free ride boards for a while, so I wanted something to force me to learn switch and butters. If you're looking for switch and butters, I would go Shadowban all day, just because it is more mellow than the Stale Cruiser is, where Stale Cruiser is going to be more reactive when you load up the tail or the nose, depending on which way you're riding it. When you load that thing up, it's going to return it. It's going to spring out. When it comes to the Shadowban, it's going to have a little bit more damp ride, a little bit more cushioned, where you're going over stuff, and it's not like if you're going over, say, a mogul or just a shitty run that's just all beat up, it's not going to try to load up that nose or tail and spring you out. It's just going to absorb it a little bit more. So when it comes to riding switch and learning switch on it, or just progressing in switch, I would go Shadowban. It's just a little bit more forgiving in that sense. And we got another one from Abram Morton. Thoughts on the AI graphics popping up all over big brands? I mean, I've heard about it with a few brands, where we talked about it on last week's live stream. People are saying Ride used AI for theirs, where I know Banks, actually, who does all of their graphics now, he's their lead graphics guy. He actually designed all of them and then used AI to spec it to the boards, is what I've been told, at least. So I believe that's what they were using when it comes to like Burton and that sort of shit. They do whatever the hell they want. And if they want to not pay their employees, whatever. I don't put it past them because that's exactly what I expect from them. But for everybody else, I mean, I haven't heard of any other companies doing it. When I heard about Ride doing it, I was a little bummed about that. Spoke with them. They said, here's what we used it for. I'm like, okay, so you're not taking any money out of any designers' mouths or anything like that, just using it to clean it up. So when it comes to that stuff, totally fine. I mean, I find that way better than somebody trying to sit there and just spec it all to each board and then having it come out like shit and being a little bit washed out or something like that. So I'm totally down for it. If it's going to make their lives easier, make the boards a little bit cleaner when it comes out on it, that's fine. If you're using it to take away somebody's job and just put out the most generic piece of shit graphic out there, not down for it. But, you know, companies are going to do what they're going to do. And especially some of those that really don't want to support the industry and support the designers behind it. So I'm going to leave that one to them. But when it comes, if we're just going to leave it at that. How about that? All right. John Deshines. Yep, butchered that one too. Which board rides better, Mega Merc or Mega Death? It depends. Mega Merc rides better versatility wise, where you could take that thing anywhere, not feel bad about it. Mega Death, when you're on a smooth groomer, that thing is going to be hard to beat. Where it's fast, it's great edge to edge, has a great edge hold on it as well, where you can really just fly by anybody and not feel like you're actually going that fast. Where when I rode it last year, I was riding with Avran. He was on the regular Mercury from Capita. I was on the Mega Death. And I got halfway down the run, stopped and looked back, and he was like a quarter of the way. And he's like, "You've never ridden so fast in your life." I'm like, "Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it." I was passing ski racers. Like, that's how fast I was going on that thing, where they were warming up, hitting their hard turns, and I just blew right past them with no hesitation whatsoever. So that's where the Mega Death excels. Definitely don't take it in preseason or late season when like bones are showing and rocks are poking out. You don't want to do that. It's not the most durable board out there. It's definitely that Formula One car-esque board where you hit a bump wrong, shit's going to get a little wonky on you where you could end up damaging the board. So just ride that when you have perfect conditions out, and that's where that thing's going to excel. When it comes to the Mega Merc, just think a little bit more reactive, lighter Mercury, where you can take it wherever you want. It's definitely going to be stronger than that Mega Death because they weren't too concerned as to keeping it as light as possible. They did some 3D milling on the top sheet to kind of help it be lighter, but in the end of the day, like that board can be ridden anywhere at any time and you can still have a great ride on it, where Mega Death, that's a little bit more a niche board for certain days. All right, we got a chat from Michael Jaxa. Would an aeronaut and dinghy be a decent two-board quiver? No park. Yes, that's a great quiver. You got your aeronaut for all mountain stuff. You got that dinghy for slushy days and just full-blown pow days. It's a great quiver. That's awesome. So I would definitely do it. Himbo Slice. TC is no longer camera shy, but is flyer lot shy. Yes, I do not talk to many people in the flyer lot. The only time I do is when I'm telling people to move their fucking car because they took up 2 parking spots, or telling them they have to move their car because they don't belong there. But otherwise, I really try not to talk to people in the flyer lot. More than welcome to come up and say hi to me. I'll talk to you then, unless I'm on the phone and then I got to do some stuff. But yeah, if you want to say what's up, come on over. I saw a few people in the lift line this year there, and they said what's up. So I'm totally fine with that. But yeah, I'm not going out of my way when I'm at the mountain. So that's kind of how that one works. But yeah. From Nar. Ideally, how many howlers should my howler quiver contain? I mean, probably one for every side. I mean, you guys all know the deal. It's N+1, so you can never have enough howlers. But, you know, I think they've named that board after something else and as a little joke. But, you know, I'm kind of one for British humor in that sense. Right, we'll just keep moving right down the list because we got questions today. Michael Jekska. Yeah, I don't know, man. Are you still noticing improvements riding or improvements wise in your riding? AF. Yes. Yeah. I mean, last year I rode Switch more than I have ever, I think, in a single season, where when I was riding a lot of beginner boards, I just took them and rode them Switch to see how it would feel for beginners to ride. And I noticed like my Switch riding got a lot more competent, where I could actually maneuver around people without having to go back to regular in a single like split second, where it was actually getting pretty fun by the end of it, where I was like, I can go and hit side hit switch now and have to pop a one or a back one off it because I'm not gonna land switch. That's still scary to me. But yeah, I'm still noticing like improvements, definitely. Like I still think my jump game is pretty good, where certain seasons I'll pick up different spins more than others, and I think it improves in that sense. But I still think I am getting better in certain aspects. I do need to get better in other aspects, but you know, it's just one of those things. It's once you start focusing on one aspect of riding, the other aspects go down, and it's pretty much like golf, where you're like, shit, I gotta work on everything constantly, otherwise I'm gonna lose one facet of it. Where I definitely noticed from living in Minnesota to moving to Colorado and then being here a few years, my rail game sucks now. Like when I was back home, that's all we did: ride rails. You take slams, you get back up, you go and do it again. You get over that one trick. Now it's like I take a slam on a rail doing a board slide or something. I'm like, I'm not board sliding that rail anymore. Whereas back home, it's like, yeah, I got to get it, otherwise I'll be scared of it. Now I'm like, I'll just go do it on a different rail. So it's pretty much like that, where some things definitely get better, some things get worse. So I just got to focus on that. All right, we got one from Shield. Ideas on investing in a first snowboard. One board Quiver as a switch rider, torn between the BTX or the GNU LibTech boards, and Capita DOA, maybe even Pathfinder Rev. Open to suggestions. I mean, the C2 boards from GNU and LibTech, they're not a bad choice for you. I wouldn't go to BTX though, like the banana technology. I think it's gonna be too soft. Especially because even though like you probably snowboarded in the past, I think you're going to outgrow that BTX just a little bit too fast. So I would say go with like something in C2. If you could find an old GNU Hyper, that would be a great board for you. Capita DOA is all right. Me and Avran share the same opinion on this. It's just a snowboard. Like, if anything, you could go with the reverse Pathfinder. I would say just go with the regular cambered Pathfinder, because once you get cambered boards down, you can transfer over to other ones and have a really good time. Where honestly, I would say go with like a Solomon Craft, where that's going to have a flat profile with tiny bit of camber. So you will have some camber to it, but you do have that, like I think they call it the rock out camber. So you do have rocker on the nose and tail. And that board would be a great board for you, where you can ride that thing for a while, kind of master snowboarding on it, and then progress to more boards, where I kind of want to push you away from the BTX, just because that banana technology, sure, it'll get you snowboarding faster, get you standing upright, but in the long run, it's just going to hinder you, kind of slow you down. So I would look at something like a regular Pathfinder or even like a Solomon Craft. Hell, I would look at a Nidecker cheat code as well. Or if you don't want to spend the money on a new board this year, look at the old Nidecker Score. That's going to be a great choice for you. Or even a Yes Basic. All those boards are going to have that rocker on the nose and tail, and then they're going to have that camber in between, but they're going to be on the softer side. So that's going to help you. It's going to keep you more stable, especially when you're learning transition from toe to heel. It's not going to feel super washy where you're going to want to keep just swinging back and forth. It's going to help you out in the long run. So those are the ones I would recommend for you. But you can always go with like a GNU Hyper with that C2 in it. That's going to be on the softer side. Bezium sent us another super chat. How come your reviews don't have any footage of you popping buttons? Because that's just for the live streams. That's just for the live streams. You know, we can't give you everything in the videos. Otherwise, those videos will be 15 minutes long and you guys will never make it through them. So we got to keep it a little bit mellow for those things. You know, some kids do watch those too, and they don't need to see these 5 chest hairs poking out. All right, we got a super chat from Hunter E. Don't worry about Thirsty Thursday this year. I will bring more Pacificos after y'all empty the 12-pack I had in the first 10 minutes. We appreciate that. Because, yeah, we're going to need more Pacificos. I'll probably have to bring a case of those as well. Probably some extra meat for the grill that Ruff is going to bring. But yeah, Thirsty Thursday, the first Thursday after President's Day this year, we're all meeting up at Ski Cooper. Make sure you buy your lift tickets in advance, and then they're going to be like $45 or something like that. But it is a huge meetup day for us and the community where we all try to ride together, get on the lift, pretty much do like product handouts. We're going to have some demos as well this year. Last year we had a few. This year we're going to try to grow that as well, and it's just a blast. Like, it's one of my favorite days of the year every single time. I hate driving there, but man, once I get there, I'm like, I don't want to leave. Like, when the lifts close, I don't want to go. It's just so much fun hanging out with you guys. So I really appreciate everybody who has come in the past, and definitely come this year. It'll be bigger than it was last year, and we really enjoy it. And then we also do a meetup the day before at Castaways, just a little happy hour action, get some food in you, get to meet everybody, and just kind of have a good time. Last year it got a little rowdy. I got called out as being the leader of all of you degenerates, so that was pretty funny. Some lady was pissed that we were that loud in Castaways, but you know, she chose the wrong day to come. She did get some free entertainment out of it because Bezium's drank what's in the box, the fruitiest shit I've ever seen in my life. It was like fluorescent, but he pounded that whole thing and then body pressed MB. So a lot going on there. A lot of fun. I would definitely recommend it. Even if you guys aren't drinkers, Avran's not either. He just goes and eats as many bao buns as he possibly can. It's a great time. Definitely make it out, guys. Oh. And we got one from Ruff. It says, me and TC have to be fueled by something. That is true. We need our electrolytes from the Pacificos. And we got a PSA from Jack Offbeat, our moderator. PSA, join Angry Snowboarder VIP for early reviews, including the Union Source FC. Yes, all of our reviews that we have written are on the Patreon. They're all up right now. So if you need to get something ahead of time before we have the review drop, you can definitely go and see it. They're all written out there for you guys. You can even buy an individual review if you just want one. You don't want the whole month. But, you know, I would highly recommend joining the VIP. You could join the sticker club. I'll be sending out those stickers within the next 2 weeks or so. So keep an eye out for those. But, you know, it is good to have a little bit of extra knowledge there when it comes to reviews and getting them ahead of time so your board doesn't sell out before we actually get that video review published. All right. So we have Ivana. Ivan? How do snowboard companies work out their world pricing? Is it all based on USD? I don't really know how they work it. I'm assuming it starts off as USD and then has to get transferred over to something else. Because, I mean, when you look at Canada's boards, it just gets exchanged to their rate and it becomes crazy astronomical because they're inflation right now. But I'm assuming it's all based on that, like, or pretty much based on how much it's going to cost for them to land in whatever country it is. Because if you look in Australia, boards are more expensive there than they are here. So every time I had to deal with Australian customers, when I worked at Powder Tools, they always bought new gear every single year because it was cheaper for them to buy it here and then pretty much just sell it here than it is for them to bring it back. So I'm assuming it's just based on USD and then converts it over to them and then plus shipping is pretty much what I imagine it is. But my world economic knowledge isn't quite what it used to be back when I was in school. So I'm not 100% sure on that one. And we got a chat from the chef to do Mame666. What's up, TC? Greetings from the high desert, Quincy, Washington. Is the radar gun coming back to Thirsty Thursday? Any ideas for this year, or any new ideas for this year? So I don't believe we're gonna have the radar gun this year. Last year we almost killed a small family with it, with people trying to best the time. So I don't know if that one will be coming back this year. Me and Avran still have to brainstorm new ideas. We've talked about possibly doing a hot dog eating contest or something like that, but we'll come up with something where maybe we'll do a banana smoothie contest or something to that effect, because everybody knows if you don't have 7 bananas in your smoothie, what are you really doing with your life? So we're gonna try to have something fun for you guys, but at this point, we don't think it's the most responsible thing to have the radar gun come back. But who knows? Avram might have one with him. He is gonna bring that camera though, and possibly get a second one to hand off to you guys, so you guys can video each other, get something going, and then we can make like a little edit for it, and kind of just promote what we're doing and everything, and show you guys off a little bit, because your riding is really good. It is fun to ride with you guys, and you always are very creative. So, you know, we're gonna have something. I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but we'll always come up with some. Or Avern will text me at a weird time at night, being, "What do you think of this?" I'm like, 9 times out of 10 when he texts me like that, it's gonna be gold. So we might as well, like, but we'll see what we can come up with in that time. We still got a few months to brainstorm ideas, but we'll see. All right, another one from Nar. If you could only buy 4 howlers for this upcoming season, which size of howler would you buy? I mean, probably a 58. That would be the one that I would need. But I only need one. But that's pretty much, yeah. All right, we got another one from Michael Jexa. Riding so many different boards on the rig, do you feel like it helps your riding, or do you think getting on one board dialed would help in progression more as a rider? I think for certain things it helps riding. Like for when I'm like in the park, it definitely helps because different boards do different things, and I kind of have to change that on the fly. Like say I'm on a rail, I have to correct. It definitely helps me, where before I would just let myself fly right off the rail or slide off it. Now I can kind of have the confidence to correct a little bit on it. Other things, I think it does hurt a little bit, like when it comes to when I am like racing in a bank slalom or something. I wish I had more time on my personal board that I like to race on, so I could really get a feel for it and figure it out. Because even though I race the same boards, sometimes I just forget how aggressive it turns compared to what I've been riding, like leading up to certain ones. Like if it's been super warm and I've been living in the park the whole time riding park boards, my all mountain and my high speed riding, it definitely suffers in that sense. But it all depends. Like if I'm in the park all the time on different boards, I can definitely feel my riding getting better, where if I take it off a jump, land a little backseat, land a little different, I can now kind of fix that. Where before, if I didn't, I would just let it go and just fall back and be like, okay, we'll live to fight another day. Now I try to stay on my feet more, and it kind of helps a little bit more. So it really depends on the facet of riding, but I think there are some good times. There are some helping times, and I think there are some times that kind of hurt me. But overall, I think it is for the better, just because, I mean, if you can get on any board and be able to ride it proficiently, I think that definitely helps your riding in general. All right, we got one from Mongrel Power Cycles. I've noticed you guys hate my 08 Custom X, LOL. Is that just because it's an 08, or is it because it's Burton? Back in the 2000s, they were still tits, and the board still serves me as a backup. Has stainless edges, or has stainless edge. I mean, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B on that. I mean, it is an 08 board, so like just like pretty much or driving a car 20 years old, you're going to have some drawbacks on it. I mean, back in the day, yeah, that was a great board. Now everything has changed. Like you have a supercar from 20 years ago, you can just have a regular car now and it'll still be just as fast as it. Like, or I guess 40 years ago, I'm thinking the 80s, but you know what I mean. So a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, where, you know, serves as a good backup board, totally. But I'm sure your new board now is way better, just overall. That's why it's your backup board. So, you know, it was good at the time. They haven't changed it, and that's really what we complain about the custom and the custom X is the only things they've changed on is add different camber profiles that are not needed for that board, because whoever rides the custom or the custom X, they should be a proficient snowboarder that doesn't need to have like a V rocker profile, because that just totally defeats the board of what it's made for. That's supposed to be like a half pipe board, an aggressive edge holding board, and then you change it by putting V rocker on it and turning it into a big piece of shit. So that's why we hate on them. They haven't changed the board in forever. Everything else is updated. Even like look at the Stale Cruiser. We've talked about it quite a bit on this show already. The Stale Cruiser does totally fine. Like it was totally fine with the previous version, but now they've made a new version, kept the same name, and now it's a better board. So it's one of those things where it's like you can keep the same name. You can keep adding to the technology and changing it and making it better as times change and new materials arise. Like you can do that, but they just haven't, because they found their cash cow and they're like, we have all the materials, we don't need to change it, people keep buying it. And that's exactly what it is, where they don't have to. So until people stop buying that thing, they're going to keep making them the way they do, and they're just not going to care. So that's why we hate on that board. We got a super chat from Eggshell. Gremlin 55 or Passport 57 wide for Niseko in March. Gremlin has structure, Mercury phase, and Blaster phase are the binding options for 5'9", 190, 11.5 boot. Ooh. I mean, out of those two, I would check the snow report to make sure. But if it doesn't look like you're getting any snow, go with the Passport. And then if you do get snow, you can always rent something out there. It's very cheap too. If it looks like there's going to be snow, you can take the Gremlin. But honestly, I would just go with the Passport and the 57 wide. When you get out there, if you got a crazy POW day, go to a shop, rent one of those Japanese boards. Doesn't really matter the brand or anything, because they do make really good boards over there. So I would highly recommend doing that. That way, spend $20. You don't have to bring your own like extra board over, and you still have your Passport for those days that it's not going to be as great. So that's what I would say to do. And then between the Mercury phase and the Blaster phase, I would probably go Mercury phase, because I do like a composite chassis on the binding as opposed to a metal one, but it's really up to you at that point. I've been riding the Mercury phase all year. I loved it. I had zero issues with it. So that's what I would take, just because that's what I'm the most comfortable on. Yeah, another super chat from Letters. Come back to the Discord. It's definitely all snowboarding now. No autism at all. Totally normal place to hang with the boys. Gonna need some button pop, though. We got 3 buttons popped at this point. We're halfway there, I think. Almost halfway there. We're working on the Discord. Working on it. As you guys heard Avran say, he doesn't even have it on his phone, so. And we'll move on to the next one from Stealther. I've just gotten into the waxing game. Better late than never, I guess. Seems pretty easy, but any chance you could quickly run through your routine or just throw a few do's and don'ts? So, yeah, I can run you through real quick. So, we'll go with this board. So when I'm waxing it, first thing I'll do, make sure base is fairly clean. If it's not super clean, like this one, pretty clean base. I got a little scuff on there, whatever. But if it's not super clean, I'll just take like a wet rag, wipe it down. I don't even use like base cleaner, because that just strips away more wax. But the main thing is I always start at the nose and work my way to the tail. And the same goes for when I'm scraping it. But I'll pretty much just take a thing of wax, say this is my iron, and this is my brick. Just take it, drip it over, and just run it across the board, just all the way in a circle around the outside, and then just through the middle a couple times, and then take that iron, move it slowly back and forth, getting it all just nice and smooth on there. If you have extra, I try to put it towards the tail, and that way it's not up at the nose where you're busting knuckles. It's at the end, so you can just flick it right off with your wrist. But that's what I'll do. And then after I do that, once I scrape everything off, scrape nose to tail, just like you wipe your ass. Don't wipe it to the front. Go nose to tail. That'll make it the smoothest. And then what I'll do is I'll take a Scotch-Brite pad, buff it a little bit, make sure that there's nothing on there. If you have a brush, like a nylon, horsehair, whatever it is, I'll take a brush. And when I do it, I'll go diagonal both ways. I'll cross-hatch it. And that way, when you cross-hatch, or if you're going to race it, I'll go in the middle pretty much, and then just go one way. And then on the other side, I'll go the other way with it. And that way, it'll take all that moisture and wick it to the sides and push it out through under your base. And then after, just a soft pad on it just to get away all the extra stuff. But the main don'ts, I say, is don't put on too much wax. You're just going to end up wasting it, scraping it off, not really being able to get the full extent of it. And then don't ever let your iron sit in one spot. Even if you have a bunch of clumped up stuff, just keep it moving back and forth, and that'll stop it from like burning the base or bubbling the base or anything like that. And never have it so your iron is smoking the wax. You want it right to that smoke point, but you don't want to see the smoke. So if you see a little bit of stream coming off, that's fine. It's once you start seeing a bunch billowing out, that's when it's way too high. You're just burning the wax, and it's not going to have the full potential of whatever wax you're putting on. So that's a quick run through of do's and don'ts on waxing your board. But it's good that you're doing it. I still wax my board. I know Avran doesn't, but I like it to be clean and fast and have a nice black base like this, because I haven't ridden this board in 7 or 6 years now, something like that. But still keep it waxed, still keep it fresh. But that's what I would say on the waxing. All right. And we got a chat from Ahmed Atif. If I have an Ultra Fear and FASE Blasters and T32s, I'll probably put the 32s on the Ultra Fear. I'm looking for a stiffer board for all mountain free ride. What would be a good recommendation? If you want to stick with Capita, I would say you could go with a Capita Mercury. If you don't want to go that stiff off the bat, just because you're so used to an Ultra Fear, you can go with the Spring Break Resort Twin, just because that board is pretty much the Midwest Merc, as we call it. So a little bit step down from it, but you could still take that thing everywhere, and it would go great with those bindings as well. Both those boards would. Otherwise, the other one I would say would look at a Jones Mountain Twin or a Ride Shadowbound. Something with a little bit of carbon in it, just to keep it all mountain, a little bit more free ride for you. But you don't have to go straight up directional if you don't want. If you do want to go directional, look at like the Jones Frontier 2.0, not the regular Frontier, but the new one they have coming out for this year. And then check out a Ride Moderator as well, and a Roam Warden. Check those three out, and that should give you a little bit extra help there, where all those will get you all mountain, no problem. All right. That light keeps going on and off. That's not good. All right. We got a super chat from Insulin 801. Would you daily drive the Nitro Dinghy, or are you only riding that on snow days? I personally wouldn't daily drive it. You definitely can. I think Ruff pretty much did all year, but for the most part, I'm taking that board out on pow days and slushy days. I wouldn't really take it out on like that hard brick day or anything like that, where you're going to need all that surface area and that edge hold, where I don't think it's going to excel the best in that. But I would definitely say in that springtime condition where it's just going to be soft all day, you can easily daily drive that thing in those conditions. But if you're on the East Coast all the time, or you're riding in just the middle of a dry season when it's just super brick out, you're definitely not going to want to have that thing as your daily driver. All right. And we got a chat from Dean Shata. Any way to throw extended ladder on the union bindings? Also torn between a 2026 Super DOA and a Greats Extreme for Tahoe trees. Side hits and quick park laps. Already have dedicated park and pow boards. Thanks. So out of those two boards, if you already have a dedicated pow and park board, I'm going with the Greats Extreme, just because you got that asymmetrical heel side on it, and it's just going to carve better through the trees than say the Super DOA, where if you were looking to get a Super DOA and you didn't have a park board, I'd say go with that one. But because you already have a dedicated park board, I would go with the Greats Extreme, just because it does have the pop for the side hits. You can take park laps on it, and I think it's just going to hold better in those trees, especially in a little bit more versatile conditions there, where your Super DOA, it's going to be fine. It's not the greatest tree board out there, and it's great on side hits, but I think that Greats Extreme is just going to be a little bit better for what you're looking for. And then extended ladders on the Force or on union bindings, I don't think so. Off the top of my head, there's nothing that I can think of that you can do to get the ladder to work. I mean, apart from changing where the ankle strap is, like just making that bigger, that's the only thing I can think of, where you might not be centered on the ankle strap, so it's not catching on that ladder. That's the only thing I can think of, is unscrewing that and just trying to make it a little bit bigger, where they don't make like an extender piece for the ladder, or another brand doesn't make a super long ladder that you could take that I'm aware of. So I'm not sure on that part. All right, we got one from Hunter E. Recommended brands for boots that is good for those who have big calves and ankles. I have Lasso Pros right now, and they have issue, which I think mostly from the single boa tongue. Yeah. So what I would do is look at last year's or the year before's Solomon Echoes. Every time I had somebody with really thick calves, or just a fat ankle or a cankle, I put them in that boot and they absolutely loved it. So I would highly recommend checking those ones out. I believe some of the deluxe boots should also work for you. When I put them on, I could definitely tell there's some room in there. Otherwise, I would also check out like a pair of the crap, what is it? It's K2. Highland? No. It's a step below the Orton. Hatford, I think. Hatford, something like that. But that's a dual zone, and that ankle is always a little bit bigger where it doesn't fit me quite properly. So I would check those ones out as well. And I would definitely say stay away from something that has that wrap liner. As I mentioned in this podcast or in this live stream earlier, that wrap liner is good for really skinny ankles and calves like I have, where if you have those bigger ones, sometimes it just doesn't want to quite latch, where mine's like fully wrapped over. Some of them probably aren't going to work quite as well. So I would say something like that. If you want to spend some money, you could definitely check out like an Insano as well. That has two really strong Velcros on the liner, so you can get that liner quite a bit bigger. And just to answer this question really quick, to do Mames 666, have you guys gotten a good look at a new pair or the new Union boots yet? Breakdowns this year. Breakdown will be coming once we get a pair. But we haven't had a chance to like really look at them and put them on. So who knows yet? They look great in person. They're nice, low profile. We just don't know if how they fit or anything yet. So hopefully we'll have one coming in the works when they send it to us. But at this point, we don't have anything yet. So hopefully we'll get there. Excuse me. Hopefully we'll get there. But at this point, you know, we're stuck with everybody else just waiting for like shops to get them. And honestly, what might happen is when Base Mountain down the road gets them in shop, I might just run down there and pick them up from them real quick and bring them back just so we can get our hands on them and film a video really fast. But that's kind of our last ditch effort from them is to be like, all right, we're just going to go take this boot and we'll bring it back. But that's where we're at on those, at least. Like I would love to be like, yeah, we got them. They're great. We just don't know yet. We got one from Done Living. When's TC's after hours stream? We might have to work on that. We've talked about me doing live streams all by myself on like Sundays, possibly, but that hasn't really come to fruition yet. So who knows? I'm a big football guy. Football is back today, so we do have that going on for us, you know, guys. But yeah, so that's kind of why that one hasn't happened yet. Is I really like to have my Sundays off. It's like my one off day in the winter, but it could happen. We could have a TC after dark. That could be fun. It's reverse buttons. Buttons are going up when we do that one. All right, we'll get to this super chat. Oh, we already answered that super chat. Awesome. Yeah, we'll move right back, or we'll move down to Toby Payne. Hey, TC, love your work. Did you ride the Howler? I'm in Australia, I'm assuming. And they have sold out, so I've put a deposit on the 6127 model. Haven't decided what bindings to pair with it yet. I was able to ride it for a day at Brighton. I had a great time on it. It worked really well for me, where I could just charge on that thing. I was able to keep up with Jay Stone when I was riding with him. So that thing charges. It's really fun. I mean, if you were unable to get one now, it's awesome that you pre-order one. I don't think you're going to be disappointed with it by any means. Think of it as a directional aviator that is more versatile for the all mountain riding, I would say. When it comes to bindings to put on it, it depends. I would say check out, like, if you like Skate Tech, Jones Mercury is a great one. Otherwise, I would say go with possibly like a Rome Katana Pro, or even like a Ride Drone if you want to go something a little bit softer on it. But you're looking at that mid-stiff binding, nothing too like crazy. Like you don't need a bunch of carbon in your binding unless you weigh like 300 pounds. But for the most part, just something in that mid-stiff realm that really stands out to you is what I would recommend. All right. We got one from Bodiu. Do you think Jones phase is better than Rome Katana phase? Hard to say. I think they have two different customer bases. At this point, I think the Jones toe strap is better than the Rome, or for how it fits. I know Avran's come up with a method to fix that, and I've been told that they've actually fixed it for the production round, because we had pre-production bindings for both. So I think honestly, what I think is you can't really say one's better than the other. I think they have two different riders, where for me, being a smaller person, being like 6 feet, 160, Jones phase is going to work better for me than the Rome Katana, where I'm not going to get everything out of that binding. Like say Avran, who's 220, that Katana is going to work a lot better for him than the phase is, than the Jones is, where he's going to need that extra metal chassis to really hold and support his weight, and really just not have him just flexing that binding every which way. Where for me, I don't need all that, where I can have a damper ride with that full composite binding and not have to worry about, am I going to overpower this thing? Because I know I'm not going to be doing that. So it all depends on your size and your style of riding. And we got another one from Nar. Howlers are the new Orca. Change my mind. You know, that's a hot take. It could be the new Orca. We'll see what happens this year. We'll see if everybody decides to go out and buy the Howler and it just becomes a sold out thing and people are just loving it and living by it. Maybe. But in the same sense, the Howler is more versatile than the Orca is, where you can take the Howler out on a POW day. You could take it out on a shitty groomer day. You could take it through the moguls. You could take it anywhere on a cat track, have a decent time on it. Where the Orca has its level of kookiness because of people thinking it's the end-all be-all board where it can go anywhere, it can do anything, doesn't matter the conditions, which it really can't, because if you're a proficient snowboarder and you try to ride that thing on just a regular groomer day, you're not going to have a fun time on it. Like, you can have a decent day because it is snowboarding. You're probably having a good idea or a good time, but honestly, it's just not made to be that well-rounded board like the Howler. So if the Howler does sell out like that and becomes that, it makes more sense in my eyes. And I think it's totally warranted at that point, because that board can go anywhere and you can ride it in any condition. So if it becomes that way, great for Jones. I hope we see all that return on our end as well. But I don't know if that take might be a little hot at this point, just because it is so versatile. If you were like the Mountain or the Jones Mind Expander Twin is the new Orca, then I would be like, okay, I see where you're coming from there. Because, yeah, that board is also very Orca-esque, where you're not taking it out in every condition. But, you know, hot take there. We'll see if that comes to fruition. All right, we have one from you, Evan. TC, I have just picked up a set of Mercury bindings. Will they be stiffer than my Rome Vice, I'm assuming? The answer is yes. If it's the Vice, they will be stiffer than it, just because you do have a stiffer high back, a little bit stiffer of a strap on there because you do have an exoskeleton on the outside. And then that chassis is going to sit a little bit higher on both sides. So you're not going to have as much lateral play on the outsides as you do on the Rome Vice. So I think overall it's just going to be a little bit more locked in feeling for you, for sure. Letters. Recommend me a new coat with buttons to pop. Something L1. I feel like all of Avran's jackets have buttons on them, so that's what I would recommend. I don't know how many companies are still putting a bunch of buttons on their jackets, but 32 used to have like a day coat that was like a half riding coat, half just casual coat, and I actually still have mine. I'm looking at it right now, and that one's all buttons. So maybe buttons are coming back. Maybe I should speak to a couple companies about having a TC Pro model jacket with just buttons and really piss everybody off. All right, getting to Carpe Diem. N+1 problem. Would you get the Howler if you already had an Alchemist, or the Commonwealth if you already had an Indoor Survival? So for the Howler and the Alchemist, I would not. For the Commonwealth and Indoor Survival, yes. They don't overlap. The Commonwealth is going to be more of that all-mountain free ride, as opposed to that Indoor Survival being like that all-mountain park board. So I think you'll definitely see a difference in the Commonwealth to the Indoor Survival, where with the Howler to the Alchemist, you're not going to see as much of a difference there. So that's what I would say. So your answer is probably pick up the Commonwealth over the Howler this year. All right, Das Stug. My crotch goblin turns 3 in February and is going to hit the local hills for the first time. Any recommendations for places to grab stuff? Anything specific to look for? I mean, depending on where you live, definitely I would say go to like those swap meets, like back where I lived in Minnesota, Afton Alps. They would always have like a beginning season. Same with Buck Hill. They would have like a beginning season swap meet where you can go there, buy used gear, sell some used gear, whatever. So that's where I would check first. But really, when it comes to kids gear, the main thing is just make sure, I always say, to have something that you can strap to the board to kind of pull the kid. And that way you don't have to go straight to the slopes. You can just get them used to being on snow, strapped into a board, and just pull them across. So that's what I would say. Don't go out and blow the budget crazy. Just find a board with a real board and bindings. Don't worry about the boots quite as much, especially because he's 3 or she's 3. They don't want to. You don't need to put them in an uncomfortable boot yet. Just have something that's going to keep their feet warm and pretty much just keep them happy. And that way you can keep out there as long as possible, having a good time. So that's what I would say. But really, any brand will do. They're all major brands are making good kids boards because all the CEOs and everybody running them are now having kids. So they're like, my kids need to have a real board too. So that's what they're doing. So I would say just pick up something used that you can. Facebook Marketplace is a great place. Craigslist, and then those swap meets are probably going to be your best option. If you can't find anything, you can always just buy one of those box sets. I think K2 has one. Ride might have one this year. And there's a few others out there, but just get one of those box set things. Once they outgrow it, you can sell it, but that board should be good for them for a couple of years at least until they get it under their feet and really figure it out. So that's what I would go with. Or as I mentioned before in the stream, just heading into your local shop and seeing if they have any old ones that they are not renting out and they want to possibly sell to you or anything, or trade, anything like that. That's what I would do. I've seen it happen in the past for sure, where shops I've worked at, we've had millions of kids boards, never demoed one out. And I was like, all right, they're just wasting money on our shelf here. We might as well sell them since they're not going out. And we've been able to make a deal like that. So that's what I'm thinking. But yeah, that's what I would recommend for sure. I'm going to have to make a speed run after this one, guys, because we got quite a few questions and I only got like 5 minutes left. So we're going to make it quick on these ones. We got one from JD Henley. Hey, TC, like what you bring to the channel. Thank you. Which phase should I get for my ride moderator? Tahoe, free ride, no park. Going to click those links. Depending on what you're looking for, if you're just based off of like the composite chassis, I would recommend going with the Jones over the 32. If you were saying you're going to go in the park, I would probably say you could get that 32. But for what you're doing, go with the 32 or the Bataleon. If you're on the bigger side, you can go with the Katana. But I would say if you're just going with the ride moderator, keeping it pretty mellow, not getting too crazy too long, I would definitely go with either the Jones or the Bataleon. Just depends if you want that composite heel cup or the metal. I would say go with whatever you're most comfortable with or whatever's closest to your normal bindings now. And I think you'll be the most happy with that. All right. All right. So I've gotten to the point where you guys have got your where you think Avran is. So the first one says the drunk tank. Then the next one from Done Living, Avran's taking a mom trip, which, yeah, he kind of is. Hunter E says he's going to Colombia for the real good blow. The guy's never done drugs a day in his life. Avran on the Ice Coast, right? Yeah, well, he's making it there. He's in Minnesota from what we saw. He's probably somewhere around the Twin Cities at this point. This is a great one. From our moderator, visiting them lot lizards, making more Lefevres. And from our boy, the chef, Eastern New York, digging up some old boards in the woods. He probably will do that. I would not put that past him to have him come back and just be like, I brought 20 boards with me. All right, let's see if we got any more questions. If not, then we'll call it this week. And then next week, it'll be me, possibly another guest on here. So hopefully, if not, you'll just have me again. And I don't know. I had a good time. I don't know about you guys, but we'll see. We got a quick one here from Steos 2000. Any recommendations for bindings for my 14-year-old son, size 10.5 boots? He mainly rides in the park, weighs around 120 to 128, rides a T1 size 155. Damn, that kid's gonna be big. 14 years old and a 10.5 already. Depending on, depends on how soft he wants to go and the way his foot looks and the way the boot feels on his foot. But right off the bat, what I'd look at would be like a pair of Vans Envatos, a pair of like Solomon Launch, the K2 Mesas, and the Ride Lasso. Those are what I would look at, just because that'll give you all different sizing. And then from there, you can figure out what fits his foot the best and then go from how stiff you want it or how soft you want it. So that's where I would start. And unfortunately, he can't go into women's boots, where you could have probably gotten a smoking deal on those because he is a 10.5. So those are the 4 I would look at first off, and then just see what fits his foot the best, and then come back and I can give you a little bit more specs to look at and stuff like that. All right. Let's see. We got a super chat from Joe Gunn. I miss all the boys from the Discord. I can't wait to see everyone at Thirsty Thursday. I believe I'll be in town all week this year. N+1 stiletto. That's what's up, Joe. We'll see you all week then. That's great, because we can never have enough people riding around, especially when it's the day where Avran shows everybody copper, and if you can keep up, then you're there. If you can't, then you're screwed. But yeah, that's awesome. We have another comedic one here from Shaden Floyd. Shout out to Buckhouse for making the Red Bull team. That's comical. That didn't happen. All right. We're almost caught up. My knees are cheese. Super chat. Looking good, dude. There's some Taco Bell money for dinner since Big Bro's out. My guess was Kidnapped by Slim. Still possible. He sounded distressed. What kind of tunes do you listen to while riding? For me, it depends. Last year, it was based on how I was feeling, where half the time I was like, let's just cruise, have a good time. Pretty much just threw on Steely Dan radio on Spotify and just enjoyed that. Otherwise, if I just throw on like my shuffle playlist, it could be anything from like techno to like just dad butt rock. Like I don't know. Like one second it could be Avicii, the next it could be Nickelback, and then after that it could be the Doors. So, and then maybe even some Juicy J. So pretty much everything. It all depends on how I'm feeling. If I'm riding with the boys, like getting really jazzed up, then it's probably some like heavy metal or some Sabbath, something like that. Or if it's like a super chill pow day where it's like just us in the mountain, it could be some Sinatra and stuff like that, where I'm just vibing to it. So really all depends on the condition. But normally I try to pick some music to kind of get me into just the mood to go snowboarding, and that could be anything. So that's pretty much what I do. And it definitely changes. We're in the beginning of the year, it was like just dad rock making me laugh, that sort of thing. And then by the end of it, it's like Steely Dan. And then if I'm racing, it could be the Doors, it could be AC/DC, anything like that. We'll get to the next super chat though, from Michael Stacy. EOTC, can't decide, do I do the Howler with the Jones phase or the Rome Stale phase? Happy belated birthday. Enjoy some Taco Bell on me. I appreciate that. Thank you for all the birthday wishes that I got last week and this week. Appreciate that, guys. For you, I would probably go the Rome Stale phase, just because it's going to hold up to what you want to do with it. The Jones ones would be fine on the Howler, but just knowing you, I think that you're going to like the Stales a little bit better, especially because they do have that great ankle strap on it. I know the toe strap was lacking. It sounds like it got fixed, so they remedied that problem on it. So I would say go with the Stale ones. I love the Jones, but I would say go with the Stales just because you get all that extra with it. So those are the ones I would say. One from Joe Gunquick. Any recommendations for a daily driver vehicle that can handle the snow season? I like my Trailhawk. That works really well. Avran likes his Volvo. That thing's a goddamn tank, and he could just drive through anything going 90. So, I don't know. Something like that. Probably not a Subaru because you don't have the ground clearance. And I know people in the comments will probably say some shit, but something with a little higher clearance. I love my Trailhawk. It does perfect for me. All right. And then from Jimmy Lee, which phase bindings would you pair with the Capita Mercury? That's where I would go with the phase or the Jones phase Mercuries. That would just make the most sense to me. You don't need a metal heel cup on it. Just go with those ones. It's going to fit perfectly. Let's see if there's any super chats or anything I missed. No, that's about it. If I missed any of your guys' questions, get them to me. Actually, we'll do this last one. I'll pop a button for Charles. I hope he's doing well. He got into a little bit of an accident last week, so hopefully he's doing better. Thoughts, prayers go out to him. But yeah. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna call it. But I really appreciate all the support. Thanks for still tuning in, even though we don't have Avran with us this week. He's enjoying his vacation. Really appreciate it, though. We'll see you next week, where I could have somebody else with me. It could just be the TC show again. Who knows? But thank you to everybody who's super chatted. We do have new videos dropping every day. Yesterday, we had the Commonwealth and a new top 5 come out, so definitely check those out. Plenty of links going on in those videos. We're trying to answer all your questions as best we can, but there have been a lot coming in. Just looking forward to the new season. Appreciate you guys. Thanks.